Imagine it. It's 2021. You just finished watching Season 1 of Demon Slayer, and the new hit movie for the continuation of the series comes out, Mugen Train. You go watch it in theaters, and on top of seeing Tanjiro and the gang get cool scenes, you also get to see Hashira truly be in action for the first time. On top of that, the animation quality is crazy, and with the insane fight scenes, beautiful interactions, and a heartwarming ending with another defeat of a crazy demon, all is well in the world. But suddenly, out of nowhere, drops the most intimidating demon of all time. This demon wants nothing but to have a good fight. The issue is that he's the third upper demon, the fourth strongest demon out of everyone in the whole world. Not only does he have a very entertaining and brutal moveset, he also ends up killing everyone's new favorite character. Welcome back to the Best of Villains series, where we talk about the greatest villains that Shonen Jump has to offer. This time, we're talking about Mr. Straight Hands himself, Akaza. The first thing that is most notable about Akaza is his aura. Him on the page screams that his presence must be recognized when in a fight. In the two fights that he has in the series, he completely dominates both encounters. But he didn't always used to be this insane demon that we know him as. Before there was Akaza, there was Hakuji. And to understand Akaza, we must first understand Hakuji. The tale of Hakuji is a tragic one. At a very young age, he took care of his father, who was very sick. They were poor, so he would have to steal just to get by. He became a criminal because of it, and his father died. During his criminal rampage, he was beaten up by his future teacher, Keizo, and Keizo then took him into his dojo and made Hakuji take care of his daughter, Koyuki, who was very ill at the time. Hakuji and Koyuki eventually fell in love, and Keizo promised the dojo he was running to Hakuji and Koyuki. Both of them became engaged, and Hakuji states that he wanted to do whatever it took to protect both his teacher and his love. Unfortunately, it does not always work out the way that we want things to. Both Keizo and Koyuki were killed due to someone poisoning the village as well. It was said in the story that it was a neighboring dojo that poisoned the well, out of jealousy because no one could beat Keizo or Hakuji in a fight. Hakuji then flies off the deep end and murders a total of 67 people in the nearby dojo, and then runs into Muzan, who turns him into the Akaza we know today. Muzan was only there because he heard all of the commotion, which I personally believe means that Hakuji became Akaza without Muzan's help. Akaza was always there inside Hakuji, and was truly awakened after he lost his humanity. Hakuji tossed away his humanity the moment that he murdered everyone there. He decided to take out his revenge no matter what because he was not able to protect the ones that he loved and held dear to his heart a second time. The first with his dad, and the second with his teacher and his love. Losing them meant that Hakuji had nothing. The only people that accepted him in his life were now gone, and he had no one to turn to. We are first introduced to Akaza in the series after our protagonists succeed in the Mugen Train plot. Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu were all injured, and Akaza shows up out of nowhere, being intercepted from killing Tanjiro from the Flame Hashira, Kyojiro Rengoku. Akaza applauds Rengoku's ability and wants him to turn into a demon. That way, the two of them would be able to fight forever. Rengoku rejects the offer and goes against the idea. The fight between these two is a fight between humanity and greed. Akaza offers to turn Rengoku into a demon in the hopes of gaining a new fighter to fulfill his bloodlust. Meanwhile, Rengoku's strong desire to never give up and accept human weakness as a good thing and as a part of life makes the two polar opposites. Akaza talks about how much he hates the weak and that the weak should perish. Akaza's life as Hakuji ended because he feels like he was too weak to stop the murders of those he loved in his family. So, fighting someone as strong as Rengoku is like Akaza fighting some form of alternative self of what Hakuji could have been. Chapter 63, the start of the fight between the two, ends with Akaza and Rengoku clashing. Then Chapter 64 begins with Rengoku barely able to stand, bathed in blood, and Inosuke commenting that if he were to jump into that fight, he would be killed. Rengoku claims that he will not allow a single person here to die, and through his perseverance is able to stall out until the sun rises, and Akaza's life as a demon is in danger. Akaza then realizes that he has to run away despite about to finish off Rengoku. Tanjiro then calls him out and calls him a coward. Akaza cannot understand why he would try to provoke him after Akaza allowed him to live. Tanjiro said that Rengoku was the one that won the fight because what he said was true, and that reigns true with what Rengoku represents as well. Rengoku's success in protecting our heroes from death itself proved that humanity won the fight over Akaza's idea of demon superiority. It was because of the limitations that Rengoku had that he hardened his resolve to ensure that Akaza was busy for the duration of the night. Despite losing the fight narratively, Rengoku was the one that died. Rengoku's death scene gives us not only the goal for what to do next for Tanjiro in terms of going to Rengoku's house to get the notes for the flame breathing, as well as the final words for Rengoku's family, and acceptance of Nezuko and the Demon Slayers. Finally, he gives inspiration to our three main characters and says that they will all become Hashira, and then they have a vision of his mother and dies with a smile on his face. That beautiful death scene was given to us by Akaza, and because of that, it fuels everyone's personal rage for the battle to come, and builds insane anticipation for Tanjiro to get his revenge. Akaza's fight here was supposed to show that how vulnerable everyone was, and despite training and going through hell multiple times and back, our crew was nowhere near the strength needed to fight any of the true threats of the series. We do not see Akaza in any action until the final arc, in which he is involved in one of, if not the best, fight in all of Demon Slayer. That being Akaza versus Tanjiro and Giyu, the Water Hashira. This fight, alongside the other Upper Moon fights, feels like an impossible chance to get victory. All the Upper Moon fights feel like a Dark Souls boss, and Akaza is no different. Both Giyu and Tanjiro really get to show their stuff here. Thanks to his insane regeneration though, Akaza is simply on another level, and ends up bodying both the two despite Giyu awakening his mark, something that enhances his skill tremendously, and even then still having his sword snapped in two by Akaza, which, by the way, remains for the rest of the series. After that, Tanjiro then evolves his own skill and is able to enter something called the Transparent World, which is like X-ray and can see all the inner movements of one's body. Remember, at this point, Tanjiro is extremely strong, considered above Hashira level and has had multiple encounters with high-ranking demons over the course of the series, and Giyu is on a very similar level to him in terms of skill, and both of them are on the ropes the entire time of the fight. In the end, thanks to Tanjiro's skill evolving, he was able to decapitate Akaza, but that was not enough for Akaza to die. The madman continues his rampage without a head, and is stated to start to evolve as a demon and eliminate his weakness of needing the head. He then knocks out Tanjiro and would have killed Giyu if it was not for his old memories resurfacing throughout the fight, thanks to Tanjiro reminding Akaza of his old master. After we are treated with his backstory, Akaza regains consciousness in the battle alongside Tanjiro. Tanjiro then reminds Akaza once more of Keizo, and then he uses a technique to do enough damage to his own body so that he could pass on without regenerating. In his fleeting moments, Akaza was wrestling with hunger and desire to grow stronger, as we see his internal conflict between the images he sees of his master, Keizo, which represents his humanity, and Muzan, which represents the demon inside of him. Muzan almost pushes him to the brink and turns him back into a demon until he remembers his love, Koyuki, and regains his humanity and fades away in the series' best ending to a fight, in my opinion. Akaza is used at the end here as a vehicle to show that no matter who the demon, if you fight hard enough, anyone can come back and regain their humanity. Tanjiro reminding Akaza of Keizo is what won him the fight. His ability to connect at the end of the day with someone that he hates and amplifies both complexities is ultimately what caused Akaza to turn back into Hakuji. At the beginning of the fight, Tanjiro is able to keep up with Akaza, and Akaza recites the words that Rengoku once told him. "This boy isn't weak. Do not insult him." He then says, "I recognize the truth of Kyojiro's words." By doing so, Akaza admits that Rengoku is right, which is a form of early acceptance of his fate to come. Akaza says that he cannot stand the existence of Tanjiro because of his resolve to protect humanity. Much like Rengoku, Tanjiro's desire to ensure that his strength extends over his loved ones despite overwhelming odds is something that Akaza wishes he would have done. He accepts his death because his loved ones came back to him. Maybe if things were different, Hakuji could have been a Hashira, as they are on the opposite side of the same coin as Rengoku and later Tanjiro. Answering the question of what it means to be a human is an extremely subjective answer, but I think that the way that Koyoharu Gotoge tackled it through Akaza was rather beautiful, yet tragic. Akaza's humanity was tied to others. He took care of his father at a young age, and once he passed on, Akaza turned to crime. He then did the same thing when another form of his hope had died, his lover and his sensei. He did not know how to handle his loss. He turned to a demon because he thought there was nothing left for him. The only reason why he died was because of Tanjiro's ability to remind him of the life he once had as a human. At the end, Akaza does not ask for forgiveness, but instead decides to take responsibility for his own actions himself, showing the dark side of humanity, but at the end still wanting a route for redemption and to strive to be better is something that I'm really glad that we got out of Demon Slayer. Akaza is my favorite villain of Demon Slayer. I think he is written very well, and I'm very glad that he was given such prominence and attention because he really does deserve it. If you liked what you heard, considering subscribing, I would really appreciate it. Other than that, have a good one. Goodbye.